Well, welcome everybody to this interview with my one of my best friends and one of my good friends, my first coach that I hired, Sha'onnah Hunt. I'm super excited to have you here with me on today. The last time we did an interview, I was being interviewed. I was on your cast. What, 2 years ago, 2.5, almost 3 years
Yes.
ago now. And wow, it's been that long. And that's what kind of connected us again. We had knew each other from church and all that amazing stuff. And so we were able to get connected again through that podcast. And so after the interview, which by the way went very well, we had such a good time on that podcast. And you could definitely still go see it on her YouTube page. And I'm going to let her talk in a minute, give all her handles and all that great stuff, and tell you a little bit about herself. But literally, that's where we connected. And after we got done the interview, we were just talking, and you were telling me all this stuff that you were able to do, and how you were working your job, and you were able to leave your job and do what God called you to do. And so I was like, wait a minute, hold up, I need your help, sis. And you had a program called Ideas to Income, and I was like, all right, how much it costs? And you told me how much it costs. I was like, I'm gonna believe God for this because I need it. But you were my first investment in myself. You were the first person that I hired as a coach to be able to help me. So I attribute my success, most of my success, to you and how you helped me to get my program started, how you helped me to publish my books, which by the way, y'all, she is hilarious. Okay, I just gotta tell you, we met the very first meeting. I'm talking, I talked myself in, and she said, "Oh, you only 7 days away. Well, that means next day you'll have your book done." I was like, "Wait, what? Huh? Wait, huh? Huh?" That's how you know you're a good coach, when they push you to do what you've been procrastinating for. So I thought you would be the best person that I personally knew to be able to talk about finances and money when it comes to transformation, because you were able to leave your job and do what God called you to do. You were able to show me and other people how to make money by doing what you're passionate about. So when God told me to do this conference and he gave me the theme, I said, "Oh, Sha'onnah is the one for this one," because I knew that you would be able to minister to people right where they at the point of their needs. So tell us about a little bit about yourself and
Well, my name is Shaonnah Hunt, and like Shawnee said, we are very good friends. And I have a ministry called Battle Ready Women, where we help women build faith, grow confidence, and prepare for purpose in today's world, which includes getting your money right and being able to budget correctly. That's all a part of it. That becomes a part of it. And I do have a YouTube channel. It is under my name, Shaonnah Renee. And I have been taking a hiatus from it due to health problems, but I am ready to get back into the game with my ministry, my YouTube channel. On Facebook, you can find our private Facebook group, Battle Ready Women Warriors. Battle Ready Warriors, my public Facebook page, Battle Ready Women. You can follow me there because I am ready to get back to the grind of my purpose and my calling and what I was created to be. And Talana, thank you so much for having me tonight. It is truly, truly an honor.
I thank you. Listen, you have no idea. I really do appreciate all that you were able to do and how you gave me the push and jolt that I needed to get started. And I really just felt lost and didn't know which way to go. I had all these ideas and things, but I was like, I don't know what to do. And so instead of me really doing the research, I just, found excuses as to why I couldn't do it. But I thank God for bringing you and I across each other's path, and we were able to connect, and God was able to, use you to be able to help me to get to the place that I'm at today. And so I'm so grateful for you. So when God told me to do Transforming Me conference, transforming the whole person, your mind, your mental, and your money, I was like, well, I know who could do the mind. I know who could do identity. Like, everybody just came to me in their area of expertise. And so I said, Sha'onnah is like the one that we need for money, because, excuse me, just listening to your story and what you had to do, the mental things that you had to go through, and all the doubt, the self-doubt, and things that come up that a lot of people deal with, that are like me 2 years ago, where I was stuck and didn't know what to do, where to go. So my first question for you is, I know that it took a lot, and you're married, so you could speak to like even being a spouse and leaving a job and all of that. So you worked for the gas company, and you were able to leave the gas company to start doing, battle ready women, the ministry that God gave you, which is a very successful business. You were able to do that. So when it comes to transformation, how were you able to transform your finances, transform your life to be able to leave a job to do what God called you to do in the area of your finances?
I would say it started all with the mindset, and I know you have a question about mindset, so I'm really not going to touch too much on that yet, but it definitely played a big factor when it came to my finances. The reason that I was able to do what I did was because I was able to sit down and truly be honest with myself and hold myself accountable as far as where my finances were and where they needed to be in order for me to accomplish said goal. Now, it may not even be your business. It could be you wanting to buy a home. It could be you wanting to buy a house. I mean, a car. It could be you wanting to be debt free. But when the finances come into play with these large goals, the main thing that you want to focus on, and that I focused on, because I do want to give tangible points, is I focused on first, where was I financially? Was I in a good space to be able to do the things that I wanted to do? And if I wasn't, how am I going to get there? You need to have a plan. You know, you have a purpose. Now let's figure out a plan.
Right.
Those are two separate things.
Right.
And I
So
don't,
I'm going
and
to take notes.
people don't realize that a purpose and a plan, those are two separate things. So you can have a purpose, but you need to have a plan for that purpose. So that's what I
Right.
had to do. I had to figure out what my plan was. And for me, that was being able to save up a certain amount of money that would cover all of my bills. Thank God I have, a supportive, loving, and hardworking husband. But let's talk to the women who don't have spouses. Maybe you're a single mother, maybe you're a single woman, and you're like, okay, Sha'onnah, but you're married. But I did this with my finances, not my husband's. And even if I did do it with my husband's help, there are still tangible ways for you to be able to do it on your own. Sometimes we have to cut back on certain things we don't want to cut back on. For example, when me and my husband purchased our first home, what did we do? We cut back on stuff. I stopped getting my nails done as much. He stopped getting his hair cut as much. I stopped getting my hair done as much. And I started doing natural hairstyles instead of going to the salon and getting my hair done, or going to go get my hair braided and buying expensive weave. There are certain things that you can cut back on. You may not want to, but you need to in order to be able to achieve the goals that you have set for yourself. So I
Mhm.
would say the main thing that I did is become honest with myself. I, and we're going to go into great detail at the actual transformation conference. So if you want
Right.
to hear the real details, then you need to make sure that you come out that night, because I mean, we're going to dive deep into budgeting and exactly the necessary steps that I took step by step to be able to do what I did.
Thank you so much. And that's good. And I like the part where you said being honest, because a lot of times we're not honest.
Nope.
And I know a lot of times we don't want to cut back, right? We don't like,
Exactly.
a girl don't got her nails on right now because I made some cutbacks because I'm working on some things. And it's not that I can't, but I got to put my priorities in order. Do I want to
Yep.
get to where God told me to go? And so those tips that you gave, we talked about. We talked about them when we met, when you told me what you had to do and all of that. And so I was like, okay, so let me be honest. What is it that I want to do? Where is it that I want to
Mhm.
go? And how am I going to get there? So you got to decide, is it, you look at, not that you can't look good natural, because I've been natural a long time, but is it necessary to go spend $200 on a weave? Is it necessary
Exactly.
to go spend $50, $60 on your nails when you could take that money and use it for your business? Put it
Yep.
aside for your bigger goals. So that is awesome. Thank you so much. I was over here taking notes, so you see me looking at right in. It's because I'm still working on some things, and I know that where God is taking me, I got to transform myself. I got to be able to transform every part of myself. I'm doing good with my mindset, and I'm doing good with my mental, but the financial piece, I'm still working on, because when I went to Dubai in March, when I came back, I didn't know I wasn't going to have a job. I got the notice while I was there, but I didn't see it till I came back. So when I went
No.
that Thursday is when I realized, wait, tomorrow's my last day? Like, who does that? Right. So I didn't even know till because I was like, wait, so I wasn't really ready. I knew the Lord was telling me to leave, but I wasn't ready. But I had to learn to make the cuts so that I could still do what God called me to do. And because this was
Mhm.
my dilemma, do I go get another job and be pulled a lot of different ways so I can't fulfill my purpose? Like, you know what I'm saying? And there might be some people there like, well, I work a lot of hours. You got to fit it in where you can. Like I remember you telling me without going into detail how you had to stay up late, how you had to get up early, how you had to
Yep.
go to your house. Like there was things you had to do to sacrifice to get where you're at. So if you're going to make that transformation, you're going to have to do some things that you don't want to do, right?
Yep.
So how long did it take you? How long was your preparation before you were able to leave your job and do this full time?
So I talked to my husband about it in August of 2019, and I set a goal for my birthday, March 18th, 2020, and that was my last day. I left my job March 18th of 2020, which so happened to be the first day of shutdown with COVID, which is a whole nother story in itself. But we're not here for that today. We're going to talk about money. But God is so faithful. So I set that date as my goal. So August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March. 8 months.
8 months. Wow.
8 months.
Wow. And
8 months.
then and I want to touch just a tad bit because when you're operating in purpose and you set the goal, it's possible when you make the sacrifices necessary. And
Mhm.
God knew that a pandemic was coming. He wasn't taken by surprise. We were. We was like, oh my God, I
Mhm.
can't believe. And he was like, y'all should have known that something was going to happen. So literally for that timing to work like that, and that just it was just that's just amazing. So but in 7 months, 8 months, you was able to do it. So that lets us know, those of us who are saying that we need to do it, finding a plan and doing it is what it's going to take, and setting a date. You said that to me, and I keep hearing that reoccurring thing. Set a date and stick to it.
Set a date and stick to it. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It don't matter what's going on in your life. It don't matter what happens in your life. That's just like if you have a bill to pay. I have a mortgage. I can't call my mortgage company and be like, oh, I don't have the mortgage for the next 6 months because I'm actually going to be sick and possibly have cancer. They're going to be like, oh, I feel bad for you, but the mortgage company still wanted their money the whole time I was going through the situation I was dealing with since April. They didn't care nothing about me being sick. They didn't care nothing about me having to get emergency surgery. They didn't care nothing about it. And guess what? Me and my husband, we made it work and we made it happen because it was something that was necessary. When what you have for your life, when what God has for you and what your purpose is comes, like you realize what it is, it becomes non-negotiable. It's non-negotiable. There is no, well, what if this comes up? Figure it out. What if this happens? Figure it out. You can figure out everything else. You can figure out how to feed your kids. You can figure out how to make sure your lights stay on. You can figure out how you're going to get to work every day. You can figure out how you're going to eat lunch at work every day, even if you don't have no money. You're going to figure out how you stay inside of your house, how you're going to pay your car note, how you're going to pay your insurance. You figure out everyday life. So figure it out. You can figure it out. Figure it out.
Okay, so I don't know why I felt like he was just giving me a beating, but I received it. I promise you, I was sitting here like, uh-oh, I'm in trouble. I feel like I'm being coached right now. That's so funny. But it's the truth. You gotta, because I literally was saying to myself, I'm dealing with some things now. And I'm like, Lord, what am I gonna do? And you just was sitting here, and I was like, okay, so that's my answer. Okay, I gotta figure it out. All
Yep.
right, God, I
Figure it
got
out.
it. It's the truth though. So that's why I love this, because literally I'm listening to a YouTube video. I follow Ed Millette. I think that's I'm saying his name right. And he was interviewing this guy, I forget his name. He's a neuroscientist, and the guy was talking about he got asked a question when he was like 19 or 20 years old, and the guy asked him like, what do you want to do in your life? What are your dreams? You know, your dream house. So he started telling him all the stuff that he wanted to do, and so he asked him a question that was a life-changing question that actually became my life-changing question. And he said, are you interested in achieving that, or oh my gosh, are you interested? Or are you committed to achieving it?
Wow.
And he said, well, what's the difference? And so he said, the difference is if you're interested, you'll find excuses, you'll find the exit, you'll find ways to get out of doing it. But if you're
Mhm.
committed, you'll do whatever is necessary. You'll find a way to make it happen to do it. He said, well, I'm committed. He said, okay. He says, well, I'm going to personally coach you. Now, this guy could charge him thousands of dollars to do it, but he said, I'm going to do it for free. So the
Wow.
very first thing he told him was, you need to move from wherever he was living to wherever the guy told him to move. And the first thing he did was give an excuse. I
Wow.
don't have a job. I don't have money. That's us. Like, we're like, God tells us to do something, and we're like, well, God, I can't because of this, that, and the third. And so the guy said to him, he said, okay, I'm going to ask you the question again. Are you interested? Are you committed? He says, I'm committed. He says, okay, so you need to move from here to here. You need to figure it out.
Yep.
And so he was like, okay, needless to say, I moved with no job and no money because you have to make it work. And so when after that, I listened to that like 3 or 4 times. I kept, because it was something about that question. And the Lord literally ministered to me. He said, most people, including you, Talana, you find the exit, the reason why you can't do it. You're tired. You this, you got your granddaughter. You got all these excuses. When we sat down and met for the first time, and I was like, I was 7 days away. You were like, okay, so that's okay. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so next Friday your book's gonna be done, because I was interested in publishing the book. I was interested. I kept making excuses. Well, I don't know how. Where do I go? I don't got the money. And you were like, no, I had to become committed to it. So when it comes to transformation, you got to commit to that thing, right? You got to make a commitment. You can't be interested in living the dream life and not be committed to doing it. So that was what I took my opinion. Thank you, Jesus. Hallelujah. All right, what's the next question? So when it comes to mindset and mental, because that plays a part, because I'm sure your mind was all over the place. So when it comes to the mental part, what hurdles did you have to go get through in order to be able to do that?
Girl, we could be here all night talking talking about mindset and talking about the different hurdles that I had to jump over mentally in order to be able to even take that leap. Because prior to me committing, and I love what you just said. I love that so much. Prior to me committing to wanting to do my ministry full time, I was interested. And that's all it was just an interest. I said, I'm good with my 9 to 5, doing these little prayer journals on the side. It's fun, but I can't imagine myself not coming into work every day and seeing my coworkers and all this other stuff. So the main thing that I had to get over mentally, I would say, would be the fear of not losing, but the fear of winning.
Wow.
And the fear of actually doing what I said I wanted to do. Because then after that, then what? Then what? What am I going to do after that? After I achieve these goals, after I save the money to be able to do what I wanted to do, then what? And then guess what? To be honest, later on in my ministry, that happened. That
Wow.
happened. It became successful. I got petrified of success and pedaled away from it and backed off of it and used every excuse in the book as to why I couldn't keep going in my
Wow.
purpose.
Wow.
And
Now
when I say I'm just coming out of that season, I'm
wow.
just coming out of that season. I mean, like last week, just coming out of that. Like when we talked on the phone, just coming out of that season. Crazy.
Wow.
But when I tell you that it was the mentality of, if I succeed, then what? Because once I succeed and I do good, what if something goes wrong and the people that are looking up to me, or the people that are depending on me, or the people who are waiting for me to fail, if I mess up after I succeed, then what? How am I going to be able to succeed again? So that was the hardest thing that I had to overcome mentally. As far as finances go, the hardest thing that I had to overcome was being able to truly, and this is so cliche, but being able to truly let go and let God. A lot of
Wow.
times people say that quote, and everybody, we all know what it means. It means to let go and let God do whatever He's going to do in your life and everything. But no, I really had to let go and let God. I really had to say, I'm not gonna sway to the left. I'm not gonna sway to the right. I'm gonna walk this narrow path that God has given me. And I'm actually going to follow through and I'm going to do it. I'm going to let God have total control over my ministry. I'm going to let Him have total control over my mindset. I'm going to let Him have total control over my finances. I'm going to give it all to Him. And when I say during COVID, my husband and I were blessed so tremendously financially, it literally it blew my mind. It blew my mind because once COVID happened, I could have easily been like, oh, I could have called up the gas company because shutdown was my last day. My birthday was my last day. It wouldn't have took nothing for me to get on the phone with my supervisor and tell her, you know what, Christina, never mind. I want to come back to work. She'd have been like, girl, I will tear these resignation papers up. It
Right.
was nothing. I could have did that instantly, but I said, God, I trust you. So once I was able to overcome those mental obstacles in that mental obstacle course, I said, God, I trust you and truly let go and let Him have full, total control, blind, crazy faith. When I tell you I got delusional faith, I have the amount of faith that I have is ridiculous. When I say I don't stress about nothing and I don't worry about nothing, even off topic, even with my diagnosis that I got in April for ovarian cancer, I didn't cry. I didn't shed not one tear. And it wasn't because I was too stunned to cry or too stunned to speak. I didn't shed a tear because I trust God that much. So
Wow.
once I was able to overcome those mental hoops and truly put my faith in God, when I say He did exceedingly and abundantly, and that was my quote for 2020 was exceedingly and abundantly. And I stuck with that and God did that because I got through those mental challenges and I was able to fully trust Him.
Wow. 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 Yeah. Okay. So I remember that feeling when I published my books, and I was like,
Hmm.
so I'm fearing being successful. So that's a real thing, and it's a
Oh,
real
yeah.
thing. But wow, wow, is all I can only say. Wow, that you're just getting to that point. So that shows that there's really no time limit. But the
Nope.
most impactful thing I think you said there, which is crazy because I'm reading Kingdom Woman, and literally some of the things that you just said, he talks about the Proverbs 31 woman, and how literally you have to be almost sold out to God. And it's not fearing him like I'm afraid that if I don't do it, he's going to beat me. But it's that reverential fear that you reverence him and you want him pleased. You don't know how much this is blessing me. You have no idea.
That's
You
all
have
I
no
want to do is just please God. And when I say more than anything, Talana, more than anything, more than financially, like having better finances, more than buying a bigger house, more than making a whole bunch of money, more than my ministry being worldwide. I just want to please God. When I tell
I
you that's
think that's
all
the
I want
key.
to do, I want to please God. And I know because that is truly my heart's most truest, sincere, purest desire, I know that the exceedingly and the abundantly comes with it. I know it does. So I just have to stay the course. And that's where I'm at mentally now. See,
Good.
mentally, I was in a good spot when I first started my ministry. And then, I started to stray away from having that positive, I can do it mentality for whatever reason. That was just the enemy, trying to make me doubt myself and doubt God. But now that I'm coming up out of that thing, my heart's desire is to just please Him. Even if I don't sell another book, even if I don't sell another course, even if I can barely pay for my website to be open, I don't care. I just want to do the will and the work of the Lord. If that means just blessing one person, if one person open my emails a month and is blessed by what I got to say, and it helps the relationship with God, and I mean it wholeheartedly, I'm satisfied. I'm beyond satisfied.
That is awesome. And I really think that is the key. And where a lot of people miss it, they're chasing the money, they're chasing the things, they're chasing, being successful, having a business. And it's easy to get caught up in here because that's what people want. We want to be successful. We want the worldwide. We want to be able to touch people. But literally to the place where you can trust God, even in a crisis, like that's really huge. Right. And that's an area that I know God told me I have to work on. And I'm working on literally just trusting Him and not seeking the approval of people, not seeking that is so good. Oh my gosh. The mental you have to build that up. So let me ask this question. This ain't there, but this is another question I guess that can go along with it. So what did you have to do to build that mindset? Like what did your life look like to build that mindset to get to the place where you can trust God like that?
It's staying in a routine with God. Staying in a routine. That means I'm praying consistently. I'm reading my word consistently. And this is even if you have to set alarm. Girl, I was setting alarms in my phone to remind myself to pray and to read my word and to read my devotion and to do your devotional that I was doing. I had to set alarms for this because I could not be committed. For some reason, I couldn't get consistent. And I'm like, Shay, you're creating prayer journals. And you mean to tell me you can't pray every day? You can't write in your prayer journal or do your devotionals every day? Like, it was a problem. So I said, you know what? I have to make the conscious effort to do what it is that I know I need to do. So I set alarms. Okay, you got 15 minutes to pray before these kids and your husband get up. You got 20 minutes to do your devotional while they're downstairs eating their breakfast, getting ready for school. You have these set times to do these set things until it becomes second nature. When it becomes second nature and I'm thirsting and I'm hungering to be in prayer, I'm thirsting and I'm hungering to read my word. I'm thirsting and I'm hungering to fast and put stuff before the Lord. I had to do that in order to be able to get mentally where I needed to be. I had to make the conscious effort to be consistent. And the more positive that you feed yourself, the more positive your mentality is, your affirmations, reading your word, reciting scripture, listening to positive gospel music, being able to let go of things that you know no longer serve you. That's how you're
That's
able to get there.
Wow, that is good. I hope this is blessing all of our viewers because I'm telling you, it's blessing me. We could have just had this by ourselves. I'm telling you, I got a whole page of notes over here. I promise you, you just never know where people are. So let me just put this in here. If you guys have questions in reference to this that we're talking about tonight, we want to answer your questions. But most importantly, we want you to come in November the
Mhm.
11th. We want you to meet us in person at the Hilton Inn and Suites in Mount Laurel, New Jersey. I promise you, I know that this is going to be a powerful move of God. Just from what she's been saying tonight, oh my God, I don't even know. I'm gonna have to come. I'm gonna have to go back and watch the recording. My son gonna have to record it because I'm gonna have to watch because it's gonna be so good. Like I really believe, and I'm praying and believing God for lives to change and people to really get it because why are we here if we're not going to fulfill purpose? Why are we
Yep.
here if we're just going to exist? And that's not God's will for our life. He wants us to be transformed into the woman or man that He called us to be. And so we just have to do these things, and it's going to take that mental toughness, that consistency. We got to learn, and I've taught this before, to be consistently consistent. Like you got to stay
Yep.
consistent. We'll start, but we don't finish. We'll start,
Mhm.
we'll finish, but we'll go back into our old patterns. And so, literally, that was so good. Oh my God! So, I have two more questions. What tips can you give somebody that wants to do what we're talking about, wants to be able to transform their money, to walk into their purpose? What tips can you give them, and how they can obtain this?
Well, the first thing, like I said earlier, is about being honest with yourself. And the way that you are physically able to be honest with yourself is to sit down and write out all of your debt. Child, this is the worst, the hardest thing to do is to write out all of your debt that you owe. And I would say start from the largest to the smallest. I'm sorry, start from the smallest to the
Okay.
largest because we're going to snowball this debt. We're going to snowball it just like Dave Ramsey was saying. That's how
Right.
you snowball that debt. But first, you want to write down everything that you owe, and you want to put that next to your regular monthly expenses. So all of your regular monthly expenses, your consistent expenses like gas, electric, rent, you car, phone, everything that you need. I'm not talking about nails. I'm not talking about the biweekly pedicure. I'm not talking about getting your nails done. I'm not talking about your money for eating out. No, we're talking about all of your necessities. You're going to write all of that out. And that way you're able to budget, okay, I make this much a month. I need this month for much for my necessities. This leaves me with this much money. Now, what you want to do with that extra money is start from the smallest to the largest and work your way through that debt to start paying it off, because you don't want that hanging over your head. You don't want any type of debt hanging over your head. And once you get rid of most of your debt or the large chunk of your debt, then and you're able to possibly consolidate your debt or anything like that, then you can focus on, okay, let's start saving money. How many months am I going to give myself to build this ministry, this business up to where it needs to be able to be self-sustainable? So maybe that's 6 months for you. 6 months to a year, you should definitely have saved up. And once you have that saved up, then you could be able to take that leap. And there's a lot of things that are in between that. But again, we're going to talk about that in
Right,
November.
right. You
But
was
you
giving
know,
me a
that's
couple more
just
tips, no
that's
teasers,
just
Jackie
that's
girl.
just the synopsis of it. Because I definitely in November want to give tangible steps. I don't like when people say, well, I was able to do this. And like, okay, but how did you do it? And yeah, I trusted God. Okay. But
But
how
what
did you
did you do?
physically do
Right.
it? Like, how did you really do it? That's what I need to know. So in November, we're definitely going to be talking about every single step that you need. I'm going to have the free printouts available for everybody that's there to take home with them. So you can be able to start walking in this thing and start doing this thing for real, because 2023 is right around the corner. How many years are you going to let go by before you say, oh, this is my year. This is my year. I'm going to do it. This is my year. I'm going to do it. No. Start now. You don't have to wait until January 1st, 2023. Start now. Start now by signing up for November. When November comes, you come to the transformation conference. Once you leave and you learn everything that you need to learn and you take away everything that you need to take away from that conference, then you start walking in that thing and you start doing that thing and you stop making excuses as to why it's not done. Imagine where you will be on this day of 2023 if you really start doing what you say you're going to do. Aren't you tired of letting yourself down? Aren't you sick of saying, "Oh, why did I mess up again? Why did I do this again? Why did I not follow through with this again?" No. I know you're tired of letting yourself down, sis. So it's time to do what you said that you were going to do. And by September 21st of 2023, you may be talking at the Transformation Conference about how your life was transformed in a year from coming to the conference this year. And I know that's a shameless plug for Talana, but I'm telling the truth. It's
It's
transformational. This is life work, and it takes dedication and commitment. Stop letting yourself down and actually do what you promised yourself that you were going to do for once. Stick to your promise.
I love it. Oh my God. I'm telling you, this is so good. And it's not a shameless plug because I got to do what God told me to do, but it's necessary because there's so many people that literally are making excuses as to why they can't do it. And God is putting people in our path, in our life, that has the keys to unlock our future. He put me on your heart 2 years ago in January to be a part of your podcast, which God knew that once we talked, that you were going to be the person that was going to get the ball rolling from me.
Yeah,
So he knows what he's doing, and we are afraid to take the shot. We're afraid to do it because we're allowing the fear of success or failure, or what are people going to think, or what are people going to have to say, stop us from doing it. But I love what you just said. Like, when are you going to stop letting yourself down? You
yep,
got to take the leap. You got to use your faith to do it. And it wasn't easy for you. I know it wasn't. I know you cried. I know you had anger. I know you did, right? I wasn't there. I didn't see you go through it. But I can just imagine. I know what I'm going through. So, daggone it.
exactly. I'm about to say it's the same thing. And another thing that I want to say is I want to touch on that faith thing you said. If you trust God, What are you scared of? Has God ever failed? When
Never,
in the history of God being God, has he ever failed? Has he ever lacked in his promises that he has given us? Never.
never,
Never, ever, ever has he ever failed, and he never will. And he's
never.
not going to start with you. You're not the exception to God's promises and him
Right,
fulfilling his promises. What makes you so special that you think that you're the exception to that? You're not. If he said he's going to do it for you, he's going to do it. You are the one that's dragging your feet. You're talking about, oh God, I'm just waiting for my time. I'm just waiting for my shot. He's like, girl, I'm waiting for you. I'm waiting for you to move your feet because faith without works is what? It is dead.
right,
If you have faith, then you got to put in the
right.
work to be able to actually activate that faith. You have to activate your faith. You have to in order to get to where you need to be. This is not about money. Go ahead, Solana. Get me started.
No, but hey, it really is because the money comes once we get ourselves together. You know,
Yep.
it's all intertwined. And because at first, when God said add the money piece to the conference, I'm like, what does that have to do with transformation? But the money comes when we get ourselves together, when we have a
Yep.
purpose, when we're existing and not playing double dutch. We playing double dutch with life. Like, I'm going to jump in, I'm going to jump in, I'm going to jump in.
Yep.
And we sitting here like, I've watched double dutch games of people like this for 5 minutes. Like, I know my arms is tired from turning this around. And you just jump in the room, please. So this November is your opportunity to take the leap. It's your opportunity to take the jump. It's your opportunity to get in the game with everybody else. Not that it's a game, but to get in and start allowing God to transform your life. This is
Yeah.
so good. Oh my God. All right. So what tips can you give people or that are using money as an excuse? Well, I don't have the money to start. I don't have the money to do it because that's the excuse. Well, I'll say that was my excuse. I couldn't publish my books because I didn't have the money. So what tips can you give people that's their excuse? That's what's holding them back from taking the leap or jumping double dutch and getting in the rope.
Honestly, everything that we talked about tonight. I mean, we can do a recap real quick, but that's basically what it is. Everything we talked about tonight. The main thing is holding yourself accountable, being honest with yourself, which those two go hand in hand, truly trusting God, and being able to be committed. You have to be committed to this thing. I mean, I could beat that thing into the ground talking about being committed. You have to. That's the only way that you're going to be able to achieve those financial goals that you have set for yourself. When we wanted to buy a house, we were so committed. We were willing to give up things that I never thought I'd be able to give up. I just got a good job. What you mean I got to stop getting my nails done? I just started getting them done again because I got a good job. Now I got to stop for 6 months so I can be able to afford a house. What are you talking about? I'm going to work with plain nails. I'm going to work with my hair all over the place sometimes because I couldn't figure out natural hairstyles at first.
You see, I got a bun.
Everyday look for me. Everyday look. I was looking real regular. And that was okay because I knew that I had goals that I wanted to achieve. So using money as an excuse is just the same as using anything else as an excuse. It's not really an excuse. Figure it out.
Right.
Figure
That's
it out. And in November, we're going to give those tangible tips to be able to help you start the process of figuring it out. Everybody's journey is different. So even though I may go step by step for what I did personally to get to where I wanted to be, that doesn't mean that you're going to follow those steps exactly to the T. Maybe you will, and maybe it'll help you. Maybe you'll succeed from it. But you may have to tweak it to be able to fit your goals and your needs. So the best thing I can tell you to do is figure it out. Google is your best friend. YouTube University is your best friend. I learned how to budget by watching YouTube videos.
wow.
To get my credit score from a 340. Hello, the lowest your credit score can be is a 300. My credit score is a 340, and I got it up
I
to
was the only one
what,
with
the
300 credits.
620,
Wow.
640 in 6 months to be able to purchase a home. I did the work and I mixed it with my faith. I can't, I'm unbeatable. I'm unstoppable. Once I mix my faith with the work that I know I need to do, I'm a champion. So
That's
once you
good.
mix your faith with the works you need to do, you're unbeatable. Nobody can tell you nothing. When I went from a 340 to a 640 in 6 months to buy my family a home, you couldn't tell me nothing. You couldn't tell me a thing. And it wasn't because I was so boastful on myself. It was because of my faith in God and because I knew how consistent God was. So I knew if I matched my consistency with his consistency, please,
That
please,
is wow. That is powerful. Oh my God, that is so good. Match
please.
your
I couldn't
consistency
be
to his
stopped. I couldn't
consistency.
be stopped.
That is crazy, Shay.
And
That is
that's honestly, that is what is keeping me going right now. And
wow.
having me say, Sha'onnah, you need to start picking up the pen again. You need to start writing again. You need to start doing your live Bible studies again. You need to start doing your talks again on your page and stuff like that. You need to start doing your YouTube videos. You need to start doing your podcast because I know when I mix my consistency with God's consistency, I'm telling you, exceedingly and abundantly. For 2023, that's my verse again. That's my quote again. Exceedingly and abundantly, because I'm ready to get back to that exceedingly abundantly. And it starts with me mixing my faith with my works.
Well, I hope y'all heard that and took notes. If you didn't, you need to come back and watch this replay because she already dropped the nugget. So I cannot imagine what she's going to do to us and how she's going to wreck us in November. I'm the daggone host, and I just pray I don't pass out. Y'all need smelling salt to pick me up.
Stop.
But this is some good stuff. I'm just trying to tell you, all three of my speakers are going to kill it. I've got to pray that God give me the words to say. I'm telling you, this is so good. Oh my gosh. Okay. My last question, and I ask this to each person: how does transformation relate to finances? Like, how does that relate?
Hmm. I would say, like I said earlier, when you're able to transform your mind, when you're able to transform your body, your spirit, everything, it all aligns. So finances must fall in line with that transformation. It doesn't have a choice because the transformation starts within and it starts with God. So when God calls something to transform, once that thing starts transforming, everything in your life must align with that transformation, and finances are no exception, are no exception. And I'm not no big prosperity speaker and all of that stuff. But let me tell you something. What I do know is that I serve a faithful God. And I serve a God that once I transform everything else He's asking me to transform, finances has no choice but to fall in line with that transformation and do exactly what my mind, what my body, what my spirit is doing. Finances is falling in line too. My relationship is falling in line too. Everything else, my job is falling in line to that promotion that I wanted to get is falling in line too. My friends is falling in line too. My marriage, my children, everything falling in line with the transformation, and your finances are not an exception.
That is good. I'm telling you guys, you don't want to miss this conference. And now I can see that I've interviewed all the speakers, how God literally intertwined this. So your whole person is transformed because your mind has to be transformed. Your mental has to be transformed. And there's a difference, right? Because your mind has to do with your thinking. Your mental has to do with the things, the negative beliefs, the stories we tell ourselves, all of those things, that depression and all those things that has to do with the mental piece, right? Finding our identity in Christ. And oh my God, this is going to be so good. If you have not registered, go to ladyttalks.com and register today. You go to where it says activity, not activities. What is it called? Jesus. It's not. Is it activity? It's the calendar. Go to the calendar. I'm sorry. Activities. Go to the calendar. Go to the month of November. Find the 11th and register. The link is also in my bio. You can click the link in my bio and you can register that way. You want to register. You want to get your seat because we're going to
Yes.
sell out. I'm telling you, once people catch a hold of what God is doing, and if you want your life, I mean, if you want to stay the same and be regular, God bless you. Stay where you're at. But if you want change, if you want to learn how to change your mind so you can change your life and get the money that God promised you, and it's not just about the money, but it's you actually just being happy and fulfilled with life. Because, like you
Yes.
said, even if you're changing one person's life, You know you trust God and He's going to take care of you. He's
Mhm.
never failed. And like I love what you said. You ain't that special that He gonna start with you. It's like, ouch. Like, ouch. Okay, God, I hear you.
Because we get so caught up in our heads and we get so narcissistic and we're just like, girl, what about you? What about you? Yes, you're chosen. Yes, you're called. So do you think that means because he's called you that he's just going to forget about you? God will not lead you. This is one of my favorite sayings. God will not lead you and then leave you. That's not how
That's
he works.
good.
He's
That's
not going to
good.
push you in a room full of people, full of things that you're not qualified for, and not give you what to say. Come on, Holy Spirit. He's not going to not give you what to say in a room that you feel unqualified for. He's not going to do that to you. There are plenty of times that I've walked into places and spoken in places and did things that I was like, how am I supposed to do this? But what did I do? I prayed about it and truly let go and let God. And all he did was flow through me. It's all him, never me. Anything I ever say that somebody's like, wow, that's an excellent point. Wow, you sound really educated. Wow, that's a great example. It's not me. It's the Holy Spirit working through me. And he don't have a choice but to work through me because I make myself available as an open vessel. So you have to make yourself available to also receive the transformation. You can't say I want the transformation and then you're still holding on to that cocoon. I can't think of a word for it other than cocoon that a caterpillar is in.
Right. The
You,
in the
yes,
metamorphosis part.
yeah,
Right.
you can't want to go through the metamorphosis and become a butterfly, but you're scared to come out of that cocoon. You're gonna have to come out. You're going to have to come out eventually. You're going to lose breath eventually. You're going to have to come out. So you holding on and holding tight on to all of the gifts that God gave you and not making yourself readily available is nothing but spiritual death and spiritual suicide. Do not do it to yourself. It's time to really transform yourself.
That was so good. Oh my God. I'm telling you,
I'm done. I'm done. I'm done talking.
I'm
I'm
telling you,
done talking.
this is going to be so. I'm so excited. Like I was excited when I got on, but I'm excited now because this is going to be so good. And this is so powerful, and oh my gosh, I'm not going to cry. But I'm so grateful to God for telling me to do this because at the end of the day, there's so many people that are struggling. They have so much potential and they're not doing it because of everything that we talked about tonight. Like literally, we covered the mental, the mind,
Yep.
everything, and the money follows. Like I really feel like that's the last piece, and that's the first piece a lot of people try. If I could just
Yep.
get the money, if I could just get the money. No, you need to get your relationship with God intact. You need to make that a priority. You need to be consistent there. Then everything else falls in line. Oh my God, this is so good. All right, I'm gonna stop because yeah, this was good. Oh my God, this is so good. Y'all want to make sure y'all are following Sha'onnah Hunt. Go follow her. I tagged her in this video. Um, but you want to follow her, I'm telling you, she's coming back with a vengeance. Because I'm telling you, this lady that I'm
Yep.
talking to today versus the lady I talked to 2 years ago, she's a whole different person. She's a beast, okay? I am excited for her journey, and it's amazing to be able to be connected to her. And I'm excited. She's going to kill it. Oh my gosh. Y'all need to register. That's all I'm going to say. Register, register, register. Bring somebody with you. Don't come by yourself. Let's get this room filled because I'm telling you, the way the transformation is going to happen in that room, I cannot wait.
I'm
I,
excited.
and I see people's lives just changing my 8-week transformation class. God is going to supersede that in this
Oh,
program
yeah.
that we have together. I'm telling you, this is going to be powerful. You don't want to miss it. So register. The link is in my bio. Or you can go to my website under the calendar, go to the month of November and find the 11th and register. You don't want to miss it. You want to secure your seat because once it's filled, you're gonna have to go online. If you can
Yep.
be in the building, it's you want to be in the building. All right. Thank you, Sha'onnah, so much for doing this. Oh my God, this was amazing. We're gonna have to do another one because this was so good. Maybe because you blew. I got so many notes here, and I gotta watch it again because I gotta go get my beating again. Because I was getting all kind of beatings up in here today. And yeah.
And can
So
I just say this? This was my first time doing any type of interview, doing any type of speaking or anything like that in probably a year. Maybe, yeah, I would say a year. And let me tell you something, just talking to you these last, what, almost 50 minutes has sparked something inside of me, Talana. You have no idea. I thought that I was ready to move forward in ministry, but I'm ready to get off of here and start writing. Like, I might be up
Listen,
tonight.
I'm telling you right now, listen, the nuggets you dropped tonight it needs to be in a book. Like you literally gave a whole book tonight. Like it needs to be in a book because literally people need that guide. Because I mean, I don't want to. How not? How can I say this? What can I say? What's the right words to say? Because I don't want to call people names. Some people like myself need that step by step guide. Like they just get lost. They got step 1 and 2, but step 3 is missing. They don't know how to get to step 3. So
Yeah.
oh my God, this is so good. So tell people where you are at on social media so they can follow you on all your places. We know you're here on Facebook, but you said your YouTube, but you're on
Yeah.
Instagram, you're on Pinterest, I think. So give them all your ways that they can follow you, and you gave your website and all of that. You want to get her book? I got to sit right here. This book is so good. Grace Upon Grace. She has a whole series. You want to get her books? So tell them how they can,
So you can find me on Facebook. I have a private Facebook group called Battle Ready Warriors. The public Facebook page is Battle Ready Women. I'm also Shaonnah Hunt on Facebook, which is just my name. On YouTube, Shaonnah Renee. My podcast that I have coming out, let's set a date, Shay. December 1st. My
Yes.
first episode of of the podcast will be back. And the name of it was the So She Did podcast, but the Lord has given me a new name for it. It is called From Battle to Victory. So I just want everybody to tune in for that and get excited about that. Join the email list. The website is down currently because I was down, but the website will be back up because I'm back up. So just follow me and stay tuned for what God is going to do through Battle Ready Women. I'm just excited about helping women build faith, grow confidence, and prepare for their purpose in today's world. Thank you so much for having me, Talana. I appreciate
So
it and I
welcome.
love you dearly.
I love you too. This was so awesome. Again, I cannot thank you enough for being here. I can't thank you for being in my life enough. We got to definitely get together and go do lunch because this was just
Yes,
amazing. So we got to make sure we make that date. But again, register people. Please don't make excuses. Don't make excuses. Make an excuse to be there. If you wanted to
yeah,
go somewhere and you wanted to do something, you DoorDash, you did what you had to do. $99 is not a lot of money. If we told you you came and your whole life could change for $99, you wouldn't invest that, but you would invest it in a $200 weed. I'm sorry, I just gotta say it because people want to look good. They want to look good. You'll spend $100 on your nails and feet, but you won't spend $100 to get who God has for you. I don't understand it, but I'm just gonna make you try to feel guilty. Okay, do what you gotta do. We talked about sacrifice. You might have to go an extra week without getting the nails done, but at least you can be registered for the conference. All right, so go register. I love you guys. Follow Shaonnah. Make sure you're getting her products and services and everything, and just meet us in November. I'm excited. Love you guys so much. Love you, Shay. Thanks again, and I will see you all in November 11th at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time sharp. Bye now.
hold on. Have a good night.
You too.